Welcome to another episode of The Unstarving Musician. I'm Rabanzo. This is my podcast, and it features interviews with independent musicians, artists, and creative professionals who share their experience and expertise on recording, touring, gigs, the creative process, marketing, and more. I also drop in solo episodes that focus on themes from my conversations, research, and off-mic interviews. It's the podcast intended to help independent creatives better understand the marketing, business, and creative processes that empower us to do more of what we love, create work that matters. How are you? Are you holding it together? Crazy times, right? Especially if you live in the United States of America. Well, there's crazy times elsewhere too. I don't like it. I don't like it one bit. I hope you're safe. I hope your friends, neighbors are safe. If you're up for an uplifting conversation, I recently listened to an episode of Wired Magazine's podcast Uncanny Valley, and this one is part of a series they call The Big Interview, and the guest was Reid Hoffman, LinkedIn co-founder and frequent Trump target. Great interview, and yeah, somewhat uplifting. I recommend it if you feel like you need it. I got a gig tonight, actually, as I'm recording this, in Querétaro, Mexico at Moser Cafe Culture with my band Rabanzo, in which I sing up front, frontman. I'm playing with a great bunch of local guys. I love them. They're a lot of fun, very supportive group. Hey, if you've never visited the Unstarving Musician store, you should. I recently introduced the first in a series of Sparta cups. They're coffee mugs, tea mugs, mugs for drinking, green smoothies, whatever. You can put your booze in there if you want. This one that I recently recreated immortalizes my beloved cat, Spartacus, rest in peace. I believe he was with us about 13 years. He was a great cat, huge, but he was great. And yeah, you can support the podcast and enjoy a beautiful picture of my pal Spartacus the cat. We would appreciate it. Spartacus probably would too. On the music advocacy front, Sound Exchange Advocacy recently sent me an email stating that the Federal Communications Commission, the FCC, is considering the elimination of the local radio ownership rule that limits the number of FM stations that one entity can own in a single geographic market. This would allow big radio monopolies to own every single commercial FM station in your hometown, as if we haven't had enough of that. So they go on, they provided an advocacy letter to send to people that hopefully read them. And listen, if you're not a member of Sound Exchange, if you published music, you probably should be. It's free. If you published music, you should be. Not probably, you should be. It's free, and you can find links in the show notes of this episode to learn more about Sound Exchange and perhaps dig around in there and help preserve local radio. I'm not sure where the campaign is as of... actually, I'll put a link to the campaign. I'm not sure where it will stand as of the time you listen to this episode, but hey, you should join Sound Exchange regardless. This is the kind of thing that they do. All right, today's topic, let's get on to it. What if you release your album, Musician, and didn't put it on Spotify? Not because you're against streaming, not because you're making some ideological stand, but because you have a better way to make money from your music. And I suspect that if you are an author, a photographer, perhaps even a filmmaker, actually I'm sure of that one, any other type of creator, these principles apply pretty well. You just can replace Spotify with whatever platform and check this out, listen on. A few weeks back, I talked with Ezra Van Sil. He's a repeat offender on the podcast, meaning he's been on here several times. He's based in Texas, where I'm actually from, but that's not how I know him. I just found him online. He's a great musician and songwriter, but I talked with him about his approach to releasing music. Ezra's last album sold exclusively to his email list for an entire year before it ever hit streaming platforms. Not as an experiment, as a deliberate revenue strategy. Now, I'm not advocating if you care nothing about streaming and you're doing fine, I'm not advocating you do it. I have some great friends, including my good pal Linz Crichton, who heads up a thing called Music Marketing Method, which you can find out more through the Unstarving Musician. But she doesn't put any of her stuff on streaming, and she doesn't really advocate it. But, okay, hear me out. If you do, if that's something you really want to do, this is a great conversation for you. And regardless, whether you're on streaming, I think you should listen to this. There's some great stuff here. So now with his new album, Ezra's new album, Morning and Midnight, he's doing something even more interesting. It's a hybrid model. Limited streaming access combined with direct sales. The goal is to maximize revenue while still building genuine relationships with people who actually care about his music. Today, we're breaking down this pre-streaming revenue strategy. By the end of this episode, you'll understand why holding your music back from streaming might generate more income, how to structure a pre-streaming release, and how to decide if this approach makes sense for your situation. Because here's the thing, most artists don't calculate streaming pays you pennies. Your email list, the people who've actively told you they want to hear from you, those people will pay you $10, $20, $50 or more. The math isn't even close. So let's talk about how to do this. Here's the problem. Many independent artists follow the same playbook. Finish your album, drip it out a single at a time, get it distributed everywhere, hope the algorithms pick it up, watch pennies trickle in from streaming platforms. It's what we've been told to do, many of us. Be everywhere. Make it easy for people to find you. Get on every platform possible. But let's run the actual numbers for a second. Spotify pays approximately 0.003 to 0.004 cents per stream. Let's be generous and call it 0.004. That means you need 250 streams to make $1. For a 10-song album, someone needs to play through your entire album 25 times to generate $1 in revenue. Now compare that to selling the album directly, the same album. If you're selling at shows or through your own website with direct payment processing, you set the price at $10, which is lower than most albums cost, and you make $10 immediately from one person, one transaction. If you're using Bandcamp, which many independent artists do, you'd price it at $12 and keep around $10 after Bandcamp's 15% fee and payment processing. Same net revenue, just adjusted for platform costs. Either way, you're making $10 per sale. To generate the same $10 from streaming, you need 2,500 streams. If your average listener plays through your album twice, which is generous, you need 1,250 listeners to equal that one direct buyer, what that one direct buyer gave you. Those aren't equivalent audiences. They're not even close. But the standard advice is still release everywhere, maximize your reach. And I get it. There's a logic to that. Streaming creates discovery. Playlists can expose you to new listeners. The more places your music exists, the more chances people have to find it. Except when you're an independent artist with a small to modest following, that logic breaks down. Because you already have people who want to hear your music, they're on your email list. They become your shows. They come to your shows. They've bought your stuff before. These are the people who will actually pay you real money for your album. Not streaming money, but buying a thing money. And if you release everywhere immediately, you're training those people, your actual fans, to stream your album instead of buying it. You're converting buyers into streamers right away. You're trading dollars for pennies. Ezra figured this out with his previous album. He kept it off streaming platforms for a year. During that year, people who wanted to hear it had one option: buy it from him. Email list sales, direct transactions, real money. Then after a year, once he'd captured that direct revenue, he put it on streaming platforms for discovery and ongoing residual income. It's not that streaming is bad. It's that streaming first leaves money on the table. Money from people who were ready to pay you directly. Now, Ezra's approach with his new album is more nuanced. He's not doing a complete blackout. He's releasing some streaming while keeping the full album in limited release for a long time. That's direct to fan revenue. This hybrid model acknowledges something important. Streaming serves a purpose. It keeps you in the algorithm. It gives casual listeners a way to check you out. It provides background income once the individual sales period is over. But for most indie musicians, it's not the best primary revenue strategy. It's the secondary strategy, activated after you've captured direct sales from the audience that actually matters, the people who already care about your work. Many new indie artists get this backwards. They optimize for reach instead of optimizing for revenue from their existing audience. They assume more exposure equals more income, when the reality is your email list will give you more money per person than 1,000 casual Spotify listeners combined. The question isn't whether streaming should be part of your strategy. The question is whether it should be your first move or your second move. So how does this actually work? Let's break down the pre-streaming revenue strategy into its key components. Component 1, email list foundation. Before you can sell directly, you need people to sell to. That's your email list, not your social media followers, not your streaming listeners, your email list, the people who gave you permission to contact them directly. This is the owned asset we talk about in the newsletter first model here at the podcast and with many musicians on the podcast. Social media platforms can change algorithms or disappear. Streaming services can alter payout structures, but your email list, that's yours. Those are people who opted in specifically to hear from you. If you don't have an email list, building one becomes your priority before your next release. Collect emails at shows, add a sign-up form to your website, offer something valuable in exchange, a free song, behind-the-scenes content, early access to news. Give people a reason to join, then give them reasons to stay. And a plug for Kit, which was formerly called ConvertKit. I've been using them for around 10 years. They now have this thing called the Creator Network, which helped me grow my lists significantly. So I can recommend Kit for you. If you go to unstarvingmusician.com/convert, you can get a free trial account using my affiliate link. If you decide to sign up for a paid plan someday, they'll pay me a small commission, which helps me keep the lights on, so to speak, and costs you nothing extra. And I appreciate it. The size matters less than you think. Talking about your email list size, of course. Ezra's strategy works with a modest list. You don't need thousands of subscribers. You need engaged subscribers. People who open your emails, who've bought from you before, who come to shows, who care about what you're doing. Those 200 engaged people are worth more than 2,000 followers who scroll past your posts. Okay, component 2, the pre-release window. This is the period where your music exists but it isn't available everywhere. You control access completely. Ezra's previous album, 1 year of email list only sales before streaming. His current approach, limited streaming presence, 2 singles, while the full album remains direct purchase only. The window you choose depends on several factors. First, your audience size and engagement level. Smaller, highly engaged list, you might sell strongly for 3 to 6 months before hitting saturation. With a larger list that has moderate engagement, you might maintain sales for longer. Second, your music's shelf life. If you're creating topical content that loses relevance quickly, it's a shorter window. If you're making more timeless music, a longer window works. Third, your income needs. If you need revenue immediately, focus the window on maximizing direct sales before opening to streaming. If you can afford patience, longer windows allow you to capture more buyers. There's no universal rule. Ezra's 1 year window worked for him. Your window might be 6 months, or 9 months, or 18 months. The framework is what matters. Capture direct revenue first, streaming revenue second. Component 3, the hybrid access model. This is what Ezra's doing with his album Morning and Midnight, and it's smart. Limited songs on streaming platforms, the album available only through direct purchase. Why does this work? The streaming singles create discoverability. New listeners can find you through playlists, radio, features, algorithm recommendations. They hear 2 songs and think, this is good. I want more. Did I say think? They think. Hear 2 songs and think. But when they go looking for more, they discover the only way to get the full album is to buy it from you directly. You've created a funnel. Streaming discovery leads to direct purchase. This is different from the old model of release a single to radio, sell the album in stores. This is streaming as marketing for direct sales. The platform becomes the advertisement for your owned transaction. You're not rejecting streaming, you're repositioning it. It's not the product, it's the sample. Component 4, direct sales mechanism. You need a simple, frictionless way for people to buy from you. Bandcamp is the obvious choice for most independent artists. Upload your album, set your price, add your email list to the announcement system. Done. Bandcamp takes a small percentage, but you keep the vast majority of each sale. Alternatively, you can sell through your own website if you have an e-commerce setup. Gumroad, WooCommerce, or Shopify works. The tool matters less than the experience. Make it easy to buy, deliver the music immediately, follow up with a thank you email. Ezra mentioned his email list was the primary sales channel. That is critical. If your list doesn't know the album exists and how to buy it, the strategy fails. You're not spamming them. You're informing your audience about something they've explicitly told you they want to know about. One email announcing the release, maybe a follow-up a week later for people who missed the first one, then periodic mentions in your regular communication. You're not selling constantly. You're reminding people the option exists. Component 5, the pricing strategy. Here's where most artists undersell themselves. Your album is worth more than $7.99. It's worth more than $9.99. When someone buys directly from you, they're not just buying the music. They're supporting you as an artist. They know this. They're okay with it. Actually, they prefer it to giving money to streaming platforms that barely pay you. Ezra's previous album, he sold at a premium compared to streaming. Exact price point isn't specified in our conversation, but the principle is clear. Direct sales can demand higher prices because buyers understand the value exchange. For your pricing, consider these ranges. Digital album, $10 to $12. That's your full revenue after platform fees, with no manufacturing costs. Physical CD, $15 to $20. Manufacturing runs about $1 to $3 per unit for basic packages, $2 to $4 with premium packaging, depending on quality. After manufacturing and platform fees, you're netting about $12 to $17. The price accounts for the tangible product value. Vinyl, $25 to $30. Manufacturing costs are higher, $8 to $15 per unit, depending on quantity and options like colored vinyl or gatefold packaging. So you net $10 to $20 after all costs. The premium price reflects both the format and manufacturing complexity. Deluxe packages, $30 to $50 for physical plus digital plus extras. A typical deluxe package might include vinyl plus digital download plus a bonus item like a poster, sticker pack, or lyric booklet. Your production costs will run $15 to $25, the vinyl itself, plus $2 to $5 for extras and special packaging. After platform fees, you're netting around $20 to $40 per package. These higher margins reward fans who want the premium experience while supporting your music at a higher level. When you're selling directly to your email list, start with digital. No manufacturing costs, no inventory risk, immediate revenue. If digital sales are strong, then manufacture physical products as a premium option or for live shows. This way, you're not gambling on pressing 500 CDs before you know if anyone wants them. Name your price models work for some artists. Minimum $10, pay what you want. This occasionally nets you higher amounts from generous fans, but it also risks people paying less than your standard price. Test different approaches. Your first album release with this strategy might be fixed price to keep it simple. Later releases could experiment with the name your price or tiered options. The key insight here, don't price like you're competing with streaming. You're not competing with streaming. You're offering something different. Direct support, immediate access, ownership of files, and that commands a different price point. Component 6, the transition to streaming. Eventually you open the gates. The direct sales period ends and the full album goes to streaming platforms. When do you make this transition? For Ezra's previous album, it was 1 year. For his current album, the timeline isn't set. He's evaluating as he goes. Signs that it's time to transition. Direct sales have plateaued. You're not getting new purchases anymore. You've exhausted your email list. Everyone who was going to buy has bought. You want to shift focus to new music and need this album generating passive streaming income while you work on what's next. You've hit your revenue target from direct sales and you're ready to activate the discovery benefits of streaming. The transition doesn't erase what you've done. You've already captured significantly more revenue than you would have by streaming. Now you're adding streaming income on top of the direct sales income. Think of it as two separate revenue cycles. Cycle 1, direct sales to engaged audience, 1 to 6 months, 1 to 12 months, whatever your window is. Cycle 2, streaming residuals from broader discovery, ongoing after transition. You're not choosing between them, you're sequencing them strategically to maximize total revenue. All right, let's talk implementation. So how do you actually execute this for your next release? Step 1, build or strengthen your email list. If your next release is 6 months away, spend the next 6 months growing your email list, not your social media following, your email list. At every show, collect emails, put a QR code on a poster, use a sign-up sheet at the merch table, verbal prompt from the stage. If you want to hear this album first, join my email list, something like that. Make it part of your show routine. On social media, don't say follow me, say join my email list for early access to new music. Link in bio, link in posts, link in stories. Drive people to the asset you actually own. On your website, prominent email sign-up form, not buried in the footer, there on the homepage. Offer something immediate, like a free song, live recording, whatever gets them to opt in. Your target beachhead, 100 to 200 engaged email subscribers minimum for your first release. That's enough to generate meaningful direct sales. More is better, but don't delay your release waiting for a huge list. Start with people who actually care. Step 2, decide your pre-streaming window, 3 to 6 months out. Based on your situation, pick your timeline. A conservative approach is 3 to 6 months direct only, then streaming. Moderate approach would be 6 to 9 months direct only, then streaming. Aggressive approach, 12 months direct only, then streaming. Ezra went aggressive with his previous album. He felt confident in his email list's engagement and wanted to maximize direct revenue. That might not be your situation yet. Note that Ezra also did member-only live video performances with conversations. These were like private online shows and small group conversations about music and life. We talk about this in episode 337, for which there will be a link in the show notes of this episode. If this is your first time trying this strategy, start conservative, 3 months. See how it goes. Next album, you can extend the window based on your results. Write down your decision. Put the streaming release date on your calendar. This prevents you from second-guessing mid-strategy because you're nervous about not being on Spotify. Step 3, choose your hybrid model if you're using one. Are you doing a full blackout, no streaming at all during direct sales period? Or a hybrid model, limited streaming presence? Hybrid pros are that it maintains discoverability, keeps you in the algorithm, creates funnel from streaming to direct sales. Hybrid cons, some people might stream the 2 singles repeatedly instead of ever buying the album. Full blackout pros forces purchase decisions. You maximize revenue capture from direct sales. Full blackout cons, 0 streaming discovery during the sales period, and potentially slower growth. For most independent artists trying this for the first time, I'd recommend the hybrid model. Release 1 to 2 singles to streaming. Keep the full album direct only. This balances revenue capture with discovery. If you have a strong email list engagement and you're confident in your direct sales, full blackout is viable. So test and learn. In either case, you need an engaged email list. Step 4, set up a direct sales platform 2 to 3 months out. A Bandcamp account is free to set up, takes about 15 minutes. Upload your album, write your description, set your price, add album art, done. Test the purchase flow yourself. Buy your own album, see what the customer experience looks like, and fix anything that's clunky. Create the direct link you'll use in emails like bandcamp.com/your name/album title. And you can shorten it if needed. Make it easy to share. I recently used tinyURL for a client. I think it was definitely one of the first times I've used tinyURL, but I recently realized that Bitly often throws up an interstitial, their free account throws up an interstitial page, meaning like a Bitly ad. tinyURL at the time of this recording does not do that, but they both offer some pretty affordable plans if you want to go premium for things like tracking, which can be great. See where clicks are coming from. If you're doing physical sales alongside digital, add those options. CD, vinyl, whatever you're offering. Create bundles. Digital plus CD at a discount, digital plus vinyl plus t-shirt, etc. The setup is straightforward. Don't overthink it. Functional and simple beats fancy and complicated. Plus, you can always fancy it up as time goes on. Step 5, announce and sell. This is release day. Email your list, not with a generic "my album is out" message, with a story about why you made this album, what it means, why you're releasing it this way. Ezra's emails included, here's what this album is about, here's why I'm selling it directly first, here's how to buy it, thanks for supporting me and other independent musicians and independent music. That email should go out on release day. Subject line is something like "Morning to Midnight is here," or whatever your album title is. Just keep it simple. In the email body, a personal note about the album, 2 to 3 paragraphs, direct link to purchase, clear price, what they get, like digital files, format options, instant download, and then thank you for considering. Then post on social media with the same information, but understand social media is not your primary sales channel. Your email list is. Ezra also leveraged member-only live video events to share the announcement. I mentioned those earlier. Those sound like for him are great hangs for his fans, and he plays a little music for them. Step 6, follow up and sustain sales. Sustain sales. And this is weeks 2 to 4. 1 week after the release, send a follow-up email to your list, especially to the unopens, which your email provider will help you with. And say something like, if you missed my last email, some people genuinely won't see it, so give them another chance. 2 weeks after release, social media post, highlighting a specific song or lyric. Keep the album in people's awareness without being annoying. 1 month after the release, an email update. Thank you to everyone who bought the album. If you haven't yet, here's why you might want to. Share a review or a listener comment, something that adds social proof. You're not hammering people constantly. You're maintaining presence without being obnoxious. Most people need multiple exposures before they act. Step 7, monitor and adjust. This will be months 2 through 6. Track your sales by week. Are they holding steady, declining, spiking around certain events like shows, social posts, email sends? If sales drop to near 0 after month 2, you might transition to streaming sooner. If they're still trickling in at month 5, maybe extend the window. This is your experiment. You're learning what works for your specific audience. There's no single right timeline. There's the timeline that maximizes your revenue. Step 8, transition to streaming. This is the end of the window. When you hit your predetermined date or when sales have clearly plateaued, release the full album to streaming platforms. Email your list one more time. Morning and Midnight is now on Spotify, Apple Music, and everywhere. If you haven't bought it yet, you can now stream it. If you have bought it, thank you. This streaming release is possible because of you. Frame it as a progression, not a failure. Your direct buyers enabled the streaming release. They made it financially viable for you to put it out there for everyone. Then let streaming do its work. Playlisting, algorithmic discovery, passive income while you focus on your next project, hopefully. That's it. All right, let's bring this back to the core principle. Streaming pays you pennies per listen. Direct sales pays you dollars per purchase. If you have an audience that's willing to buy from you, capture that revenue first, then add streaming income on top. The pre-release revenue strategy isn't about rejecting platforms. It's about sequencing your release to maximize total income. Direct sales first, streaming residuals second. Ezra's 1-year window with his previous album, his hybrid model with Morning and Midnight, both demonstrate the same thinking. Your email list is worth more than your streaming listeners when it comes to actual revenue per person. You don't need a massive audience for this to work. You need an engaged audience. 200 people who actually care about your music will generate more income through direct sales than 2,000 casual streaming listeners. I'll cover these concepts in an upcoming edition of Liner Notes, the email newsletter from yours truly. For Liner Notes Insider subscribers, I'm putting together a complete implementation toolkit, a revenue comparison calculator that shows direct sales versus streaming income projections based on your audience size, an email list monetization sequence for pre-release, during release, and post-release communication, a release timeline framework with 3-month, 6-month, and 12-month window options, and a pricing strategy guide for digital, physical, and bundle options. If you're not yet subscribed to Liner Notes, head over to unstarvingmusician.com/liner notes. You'll get highlights from this and hundreds of other conversations about building a sustainable creative career in music or wherever you're creating things. And if you want the complete implementation toolkits, Liner Notes Insider gives you the frameworks, templates, and calculators to put this into action. You can find links to everything we discussed today in the show notes for this episode at unstarvingmusician.com. Your music has value. When you release it everywhere immediately, you're training your actual fans to stream it for pennies instead of buying it for dollars. Give them the option to support you directly first, capture the revenue, then open it up to streaming for discovery and residual incomes. Start with your next release. Build that email list now. Decide your window. Set up your direct sales platform. Email your people when it's ready. This isn't complicated. It just requires inverting the standard release strategy. I'm Rabonzo, and this is the Unstarving Musician. Thank you for listening. As an independent podcaster, your support means the world to me. You could even say I depend on it. With that in mind, here are some things you can do to help support us. Follow us on your favorite podcast app. Leave us a review on your favorite podcast app. Or shoot me a review by email, rabonzo@unstarvingmusician.com, that I can use on the website. Or just share this episode with a friend. This makes a huge impact on our audience growth. You could also visit our crowd sponsor page at unstarvingmusician.com/crowd sponsor to learn of the many other ways of supporting the podcast, including a quick and easy online tip jar. It's like click, tip, done, easy, and super appreciated. You'll find many ways of showing your support there, including through our affiliate partners like Bandzoogle, Kit, Email, formerly ConvertKit, DreamHost, and others. The music you're hearing is New Gods Part 2, the instrumental mix by yours truly. You can hear the full version, download it, or buy it at rabonzo.com. And if all this was too much to remember or process, just go to the show notes for this episode at unstarvingmusician.com to find links to all the stuff talked about in this episode. You can leave us feedback, questions, comments, complaints at unstarvingmusician.com/feedback. Thanks for listening. Peace, gratitude, and a whole lot of love.